A lot of them choose the second option. And once they've made that decision to leave, you've lost a passively drifting customer and turned them into an actively gone one. Your win-back sequence is probably making your subscription churn problem worse. That's not because the emails are poorly written, and it's not because your offers are not generous enough. It's because the logic behind the entire sequence is built on the wrong logic for your category. The standard e-commerce retention playbook says when a customer goes quiet, you create urgency, offer a discount, and shorten the gap between orders. Get them back into the purchase cycle as fast as possible. That approach works reasonably well in a lot of e-commerce categories, but in supplements, it backfires. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why. I'm Erin Cardone, the host of The Active Ingredient and this YouTube channel created specifically to help DTC supplement brands be more profitable. This is video 3 of 4 in our series on why supplement customers leave. In video 1, we covered the confidence curve, the research showing that mid-experienced buyers are at peak churn risk, not because they're unhappy with your brand, but because they're uncertain. In video 2, we looked at passive churn and how to find where it's actually happening in your data. This video is video 3, and it's about what most brands do when they find it and why that doesn't work. To understand why the standard retention playbook just doesn't work in supplements, it helps to understand first where it came from. The core mechanics of e-commerce win-back strategy, urgency, discounting, time-limited offers, those were developed and refined in categories where switching brands is driven by convenience, habit, and price sensitivity. A customer who hasn't reordered their coffee subscription in 45 days is probably just busy or distracted. So a well-timed "we miss you" with a 15% off discount is exactly what brings them back. The friction is low, the consideration is low, and the discount resolves the hesitation because generally speaking, that little bit of hesitation is all that was really in the way. However, that is not what's happening when a supplements customer drifts. As we covered in video 1, the customer who's gone quiet after 3 or 4 purchases isn't hesitating because the price feels high. They're quietly asking whether they've made the right choice. They're in that confidence dip, and the uncertainty is the issue, not the friction. Those are fundamentally different problems, and they need fundamentally different solutions. The reason most brands miss this is that the data looks the same. A passively churned customer at purchase 4 looks the same in your Klaviyo segment to a lapsed coffee subscriber. It's the same 60-day trigger, same automation fires, same sequence goes out. But the internal experience of those 2 customers is completely different. And what moves one is not going to move the other. Let me be specific about why discounting backfires in this confidence window. And it's not just that it doesn't work. It can actively make the problem worse for supplements brands. When a customer is uncertain about whether they've made the right choice, they're running an internal evaluation. Is the product actually doing something for me? Is it worth what I'm paying? Should I keep going or should I try something else? A discount lands in the middle of that evaluation and sends a very specific signal. The product is not worth full price. That's not what you intended, but that's often what the customer hears. Think about the categories where you do expect discounts: clearance items, products that aren't moving, promotions that exist because the demand isn't strong enough to hold the price. In the consumer's mental model, frequent discounting is actually a signal about value. Supplements are meant to be a health investment. That's how your best customers think about them, right? They're not buying based on price. They're buying because they believe the product is worth it and going to help them. So when you discount aggressively to win back a customer who's already uncertain, you're inadvertently confirming that doubt. Not only might it not be working, it's apparently not even worth what I was paying. That's not a retention mechanism. It's a confidence erosion mechanism. Now, there's a second issue. Even when a discount does generate a repurchase, it often generates a conditional one, right? The customer buys because the deal was there and not because their confidence was rebuilt, which means they're really still in the same uncertain state as in the next renewal when it comes. And now they've been trained to expect an offer before they reorder. So you haven't really retained them. You've created a discount dependent customer who will cost you more to keep every time. And the other pillar of the Winback playbook is urgency, right? Your offer expires in 48 hours or last chance to come back. A customer who's quietly questioning their choice isn't failing to repurchase because they need a push. They're failing to repurchase because the question that they're sitting with hasn't been answered. Urgency doesn't answer it. It just adds pressure to a person who's already uncomfortable. In a high consideration, trust sensitive category, that pressure can actually reinforce the exit. Because a customer who's uncertain and then feels pressured has two options, really. They can decide in your favor under pressure or decide against you and be done with the discomfort. A lot of them choose the second option. And once they've made that decision to leave, you've lost a passively drifting customer and turned them into an actively gone one. The urgency tactic applied at the wrong moment closes the window that you are trying to keep open. If you want to audit your own sequence honestly, here's what to look for. Pull up your current Winback flow and map every email. When it sends, what's the subject line, what's the angle, and what's the offer. Now, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does your sequence start within 30 days of the lapse, or does it wait until the 60 or 90-day mark? If you're waiting 60 days to re-engage a mid-journey customer, you are already late. The confidence dip doesn't wait 2 months. It happens within the first few weeks after the order cadence breaks. Second, what does your first email lead with? If it's a discount or an offer, you've opened with the wrong tool. The first email should be re-anchoring the customer to why they started, not incentivizing them to come back. Third, does every email in the sequence sound the same? The same urgency, the same offer structure, and the same tone. A sequence where emails 2, 3, and 4 are just louder versions of email 1 is not a win-back strategy. It's kind of a repurchase nag. Most brands, when they lay this out honestly, find at least 2 of those 3 problems in their current flow. Not because they built bad sequences, it's just because they built sequences for the wrong problem, which makes sense. A lot of us didn't know about this. And the good news is that once you know what the problem actually is, the rebuild is actually pretty straightforward. And that's exactly what I'm going to cover in video 4. If you want to do this audit on your own sequence before the next video, step 2 of the Winback workbook is a structured template for mapping your current flow and identifying exactly where it's failing. It walks you through the same 3 questions I just described with a framework for evaluating each email in your sequence against what it should be doing at that stage. The link to that is in the description. Now, video 4 is where we're going to get into what actually works. The 3 specific interventions that the research identifies for mid-experienced customers in trust-sensitive categories and how to sequence them into a win-back flow that's built around confidence rather than urgency and discounting. Subscribe if you haven't already. And that central article that I wrote that crystallizes this whole series is linked in the description. The full argument is there if you want to read ahead. One thing I'm curious about, and drop it in the comments if you've looked at your Winback sequence already and found something that surprised you. Either a problem that you recognize or something that's actually working really well. I will see you in the final video.